My name is Matthew Wade, and I am an illustrator / filmmaker. The theme I chose today was evolution. Evolution in art, I think, is always there. I don't want to have, the same ideas or the same concepts that I did when I was like 14 or 15. What was relevant then is not necessarily going to be relevant now. But the same thing happens on a more micro level with when you start a piece, like when I started this one. You have a general idea, but as far as colors, as far as even the specificity of like line size and overall shape, that stuff for me always comes right in the middle of inking it. I like to do very little pre-planning, very little work. So it evolves as it's going to strengthen the final vision. I think you always start with a very pure idea, but it's also very abstract. And the fun is in kind of bringing the abstraction to life, keeping the core of the abstraction and the idea there. It's always the driving force, but letting it blossom on its own and kind of seeing where it goes. I think that the introduction of like discipline into my work is the newest thing, but it's also evolved the work in way more strides than ever had before. Like for 10 years, you're tinkering with things, kind of learning it, and then you go to school and you learn the way to kind of solidify ideas, and then after that, I think in the short time between school and now has been the most growth, the most evolution, because I'm constantly trying to do something new, but do it better. I've been doing a lot of stuff recently with like trying to mix geometric, like hard geometric shapes and kind of fleshy, more loose shapes. So it seemed appropriate for this piece to try to just do everything that I've been trying to do recently, because it kind of showed an evolution in like style recently with the geometric meets the line work, but I also wanted to do something that read maybe more blatantly than other stuff, evolution on the page. So started with the idea of the egg, drawing the geometric shapes of the egg, and then I basically put down a few lines of just let's have some ghostly shape coming out of it. And as far as what it was going to be built out of, was it going to be a bunch of little lines? Was it going to be cross-hatching? I just kind of felt that as I went. As I started drawing out of the egg, I basically was just trying to feel out like what I wanted to do. If I wanted to do a bunch of lines, and then I wanted to do like a splatter effect, but it ended up being just a lot of these little fingery looking lines, which was totally in the moment, sort of an idea. And then it made the most sense, I guess, to end it with just a nice solid shape of like, something coming out of the flesh, which was the skull. And then I'll take that stuff, I scan it all, and then once it's in the digital pipeline, I bring it all together. I draw a lot of different elements on different pieces of paper, but they're like with the plan of combining them all in the end. After that, I just color, and I try to color it as fast as I can and try to put as little thought into the coloring as possible. Because with digital coloring, the options are so endless and you can revise yourself over and over and over and over again. I try not to do that. I try to do it like you were doing it with like a physical paint. So I'll try to put down just a couple of layers, and then I'll just try to build off of that and make it in the moment and not try to redo a lot of stuff, not try to take a lot of stuff out. I don't know if it's a conscious decision to depict evolution through this piece or anything that I've done, but I definitely think it's the strongest theme because it is relevant to a macro and a micro on any level, I think, of the human condition. So I think for me, it's probably less of a decision and more of just something that I found existed in everything that I had done up to that point. It's fun for me to hear people's interpretations of what I do more than it is for me to give the interpretation. I think it ruins it when the artist says too much about it or steals an interpretation away by telling you what it's supposed to mean, versus letting people just have it and keep it for what it is.
SoulPancake, subscribe!